And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today.
My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Beckley. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing wonderful. And how are you?
I am doing very well. I'm excited about the show today. I love our guest.
Yeah. We're going to get to Miss Queen Marcy in a little bit. I can't wait to have that conversation about the joy of music and how she works that in life, When I heard joy of music, right there just put me joy. Because I love, I don't know, because maybe the music part, I don't know, but it's just, it just put a smile on my face when I say it.
Exactly. So introduce yourself, Miss Beckley.
I'll let you do the honors first.
Oh, you're going to meet me do first? All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. I'm Barbara Ellison. I'm founder of Wellness Playroom for the best version of you. And, I work with late career business professionals who are facing retirement, and they want to have a great retirement. They want to thrive, in retirement. So I help them to do that in all sorts of different ways. So that's me kind of in a nutshell. So how are you doing, Miss Beckley?
I am doing wonderful. Before I get into my spill, my name is Barbara J. Beckley, and I am a purpose and visibility strategist. Basically, what I do is I want to make sure that you understand your gifts within here. And then once you really dig deep, and we dig deep together, because I'm here to help, I'm your cheerleader, then we got to get you visible. People got to get to know who you are. You can't be hidden under a rock, especially with the gifts that you bring. So with that, all kinds of ways I do that, from, understanding how to speak on platforms when you're interviewing, to having your own TV streaming show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I know Barbara Beckley.
Yeah, and I love the fact that I know you, because we have interchanged so much and collaborated so much that, you know how you always say, do something that makes your heart sing.
Do something that makes your heart sing, and goes right along with what Marcy's going to talk about.
That's what I'm saying. So my heart sings when we have this show every Wednesday and we come together. So
yeah. And today I thought this goes along with kind of what Marcy does too, is that I thought we would talk about ownership. The thing is, ownership starts with grounding ourselves. So I want to share a little exercise. It's very short, but it just to give people, so often what happens is they get caught up in their monkey brain. And they get caught up in all I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Oh, I can't believe I did that. All of those things. Well, in order to take really good responsibility and ownership of our lives, well, we have to ground ourselves. So this is a grounding exercise. So if audience, if you have a piece of paper, and you can write these things down. Otherwise, you can look it up on Google and all those kinds of things. But when you're feeling that stress of just something is, one of the, we all have it, when we can't seem to get out of it. It's what leads to anxiety and stress and depression. But we need to ground ourselves. Well, one of the things that you can do is just sit quietly and then look around you at 5 things that you can see. And just visually look around and pick out 5 things that you can see. If you want to write them down, that's great if you really need it, but 5 things that you can see. But then 4 things that you can feel or touch. Like you can touch the upholstery of your chair, the counter that you're sitting at, the computer that's in front of you. 4 things that you can touch. Those things. Okay. 3 things you can hear. Can you hear the buzz of a refrigerator starting? Can you hear a car going by? Whatever it is, 3 things that you can hear. It might be as quiet as your own heartbeat, your breath. It can be that small. 2 things you can smell. And if you can't smell anything, then imagine what it would be like to walk into a bakery and smell fresh baking bread. Your brain does not know the difference between what it can actually smell or what you can imagine that it can smell. It doesn't know the difference. So you can trick it into doing it. And then what's one thing that you're tasting that you can look around and taste? Are you having something to drink right now? Are you drinking a hot cup of coffee? Something that you can taste. And once you do all of those things, chances are it's making you calmer. It's slowing you down because your brain can't concentrate on 2 different things at the same time.
Wow.
So it can calm your thing down. One of the things that I absolutely add to it is one thing that you're grateful for. One thing that you are grateful for. What this grounding does for you, it helps you to take responsibility for it takes you ownership of your life. Can you acknowledge your responsibility in it? I mean, whether it's good or bad. If you made them, you know me and my mess up. If you've messed up, okay, mess up, fess up, take the heat. But celebrate the things that you are doing, but don't go overboard. Look at me, what I did. So because those are the extremes. But be proactive. Be proactive in taking responsibility. Don't wait for other people to do things. If you need to take responsibility for something, great. And don't take blame either. It's like, be proactive. There's the 2 sides of it. But then just follow through.
Yeah. First of all, I love that whole exercise, and I was like kind of following through as you were asking the questions. I was going through the exercise, and the part where you said be grateful for something. Everything that you said we should be grateful for. If we could see things, if we could touch things, if we could hear things, if we could figure out how to taste stuff and all that, if we have those senses still and waking up in the morning, that's starting off the point of being grateful. That's what I say. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what Marcy did. That's why it just kind of dovetailed right into what Marcy does. Because one of the things is, as adults, we have to really work at doing it.
Yeah, because we always go to
kids tend to not know how to do it. They have got all these emotions and don't know what to do with it and how to handle it. Even as adults.
Yeah.
It's like right, I think in the pre-show right now, I'm having a little argument with PayPal. And so I could either, I had to call them yesterday, and okay, so I'm stuck between PayPal. I'm stuck in it, and which is okay because I like using PayPal. But right at this moment, it's not serving me the way I want it to serve me. Let's be honest. Yeah. And so I had it yesterday. I called them, and I happened to get just a really nice gentleman. And I said, "Is there anything that can be done to take care of this?" And he went, "No." And I wanted to say, "Look at sir, this is a push of a button. They can send millions of dollars in seconds, and you're telling me you can't get it in 5 to 10 days." So so right at that moment, I had a choice. Mm-hmm. Am I going to be totally rude to him and be upset and go, I said, well, okay, so Barbara, let's have a plan B. Mm-hmm. And so this morning in my prayer time, it was like, okay, Lord, this has not been resolved, and it needs to be resolved today. What are you going to do? And, and then once I did, and that's, I think, what made me think of the grounding exercise, because that's exactly what I did. I had to get with myself and go, all right. And then, of course, not even a minute later, it was like, oh, I know what I can do. It comes to you because we have it within us. Yeah. We just have to cooperate with it.
Yeah, even though we don't like it sometimes. It's funny how you dealing with a PayPal challenge, and I was dealing with the bank well, not anymore dealing with the bank challenge because I decided to do the Usha moment and ground myself. I said and ground myself. So what happened to me was I deposited a check in the bank and kind of forgot that they put a hold on it for a few days.
That's where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
It's got a hold on it.
And I put it in last Friday, and they told me, oh, well, it won't be available till the next Friday. So this coming Friday, it's supposed to a whole week. And I said, look, this is my money.
Thank you.
Even if you can't give me the whole thing, can you give me a partial of it? I have some things to do. And they're like, no. They said the rule is, it's a 5-day hold because we need to make sure and all that. I was like, OMG. So I was just like, kind of, like you said, and then something stopped me and said, okay, you arguing with this person and going off or whatever you want to do right now is not going to get, especially the end result. And that's what you're trying to get. So I had to be polite. I did ask the question though, which got me more upset though. I said, well, if I go into the financial institution, maybe they say, you know what? That's a good, the customer service say, yeah, you can try to go and they might be able to do something, maybe release some of the funds or whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I'm in Wisconsin. The bank is weird because they should have a location here. Now I'm thinking about it. The only location they have in Illinois. So I had to drive to Illinois to go there. Well, I get there and I get in front of the customer service and I said, I told her my issue. And she's like, no, we can't do nothing for you.
Yeah.
She said the hole is still a hole. And I was like, I said, it's really sad. I drove all the way from Wisconsin here, and you're telling me that the customer service could have told me already and saved me a trip. Yeah.
Exactly. So you and I had exactly the same conversation yesterday around the same subject. But how we're all connected.
But if the nice thing about it is, like you said, you and I, and we always say this about making that choice. So, you made the choice. I mean, we're human. We go through, like you said, you were upset. I was upset, but we made the choice to be, calm down, Usha, ground ourselves, and say, okay, you know what? Me sitting here getting whatever is not going to get the end result, and it's going to get you frustrated and get you upset. Your blood pressure goes up. I mean, the whole gamma. So I said, you know what? Let me calm it down, and I got in my car. And I turned on my wonderful music, just the joy of music.
Music, exactly.
And just traveled all the way back singing my old 80s songs. And it was nice. It was I need, and what, sometimes things happen for a bigger reason in your life.
Right.
And for that 40 minutes I was driving back home, I really was able just to center myself, like you said, and really just calm down and think of things that I needed to do. And I was like, you know what?
It decompress.
Exactly. Yeah, it worked itself out. Yeah.
And the thing is that it's a skill. Mm-hmm. So now this show is for somebody. Okay, audience here. this show is for somebody out there. Mm-hmm. Somebody is listening to this, and they might be listening to it right now. They might be listening to it today. They might be listening to it a year from now, because we plan to be here. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've already been on the air. We're going to be going into our 5th year. And so Barb and I, we're the babies, and we intend to be here. So if you're listening to this a year from now, it's for you. What are you letting a circumstance or something that you have no control over, and you're letting it get you so bent out of shape that it's causing you anxiety and stress and leading you into depression? And it's all those mental thoughts. And this is what the grounding exercise does for you, because your brain does not know the difference between what's real and what's not. So when you can ground it, give it something else to think about. What can you see? What can you feel? What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste? What are you grateful for? Yes. That when you can ground yourself back to that, to be present in your body. In your body, breathe. Like we've talked about, breathe. Yeah. Notice what your feet are, how your feet feel on the floor. Notice what you're sitting on. Just do that calming, and it is just the thing that will change your life. And practice it for at least, and do it intentionally, because you know what? We don't always remember to do things in the moment. So right now, make a commitment to yourself that you are going to practice a grounding exercise while you're not upset. Who knew that we could do that? Well, yeah, guess what? We can. We have that choice. It's like Marcy practices her violin. She teaches kids how to practice their violins. It's practice. Because then when you are ready, when they step up to the plate, when they step up onto the podium, when she steps up in front of the orchestra, she knows they're prepared. Yeah. But that's how life is.
That's how life is. Yeah. For anything. Yeah.
For anything. Yeah. We can do it. Yeah. And it just takes practice.
Well, I know one thing that's practice that life throws me all the time is practicing to be patient.
Exactly.
I've been going through that thing ever since I've been born. And I keep saying, can I finally say check on that? Yes. But no, it's always going to be a situation, something going on where the patient is going to be, you're going to be taught that, you know, if you want it or not. So, but yes, you take it that way. You take it as lessons.
Yeah, it's the lessons, because sometimes it's like the deadlines get us, or the commitments, or we haven't learned how to say no.
Yeah. And that really,
ladies and gentlemen, no is a complete sentence.
No, period.
Don't take on more than what you can handle, just because you think that somebody is kind of either guilting you into doing it.
And that's the bad part.
The coulds. I should do that. Well, are you really? Should you be doing this? Yeah. I've had a couple of those, and you and Barb and I, we talked about it last week when we were talking about, should I really be doing this? And I've had to let a couple of things go, going like, yeah, no wonder I'm struggling with this. I'm not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
Let somebody else do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called delegation.
Yeah. And trust. And see, the delegation goes with the trust. And that's where a lot of people, I believe, because I know I have struggled in times trying to delegate, because you have to trust that person, because you're handing over something that might be part of your business or whatever. And you're like, okay, I got to trust this person to do this. So I got to let go, because you got your stuff to do. I always tell people, you need to focus on your gifts and let people focus on their gifts to help you out. Because you're holding them back. For one, you're holding a person back. I always feel when you're not like giving that particular thing up to the other person so they can help you when you delegate. So I always tell people, no, it's the opposite. No, I want to hold on. I want to hold on to this. And then I'm like, okay, have you got anything what you needed done lately? How's that going for you? They're like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I do need to let this go. This is a lot. This is taking too long. Something that took 2 hours, 3 hours for you took probably 5 minutes for the other person that could do it for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's me. That's my VA.
Yeah. See,
here's me. I'm struggling with doing something, and she comes back 10 minutes later and says, "Oh, here, Barb.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do that the first time? Why didn't I do that first?" And say,
like,
could you make this for you? Could you do this graphic for me? And she comes back, "How's this?" I'm like, perfect. Put it up.
Put it up.
So we all do it. We all do it because we're human.
Yeah. And we just, that's how we are. We just want to just, but I always tell people it's okay to know, everything within your business, going back to your business, but you don't have to do everything in your business.
You should know it. You should be able to inspect it.
Yeah.
And know it. Yes.
And know it. But to do it all the time, no. Because like I said, if you're supposed to be talking to people, networking, getting to know them so it can help with your coaching, whatever, that's what you should be doing. Not sitting here trying to send an email to somebody to talk about, okay, schedule them. There's a technology. It's called technology. Sometimes that works for you. So I always tell people, no, just do, you got to do what, I always love when you say that, Barbara, do what your heart,
do what makes your heart sing.
You got me. I've been saying it all weekend. Ever since you told me last week, I've been telling people that. They said, "Oh, that sounds so beautiful." I said, "Yeah, it doesn't it? And you could have that."
You can have that. It's that joy of the joy of music, the joy of living, the joy of loving, the joy of everything.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, before we bring on Queen Marcy, I wanted to also just go back real quickly about I love the grounding that you did for us. And I think we could talk a little bit about this next week, since we're still in July right now, we're in midterm of the year of 2024.
Right.
If anybody knows that, and a lot of people like, Barbara, you reminded me, really, I had goals that I still haven't got to yet. I have this and that. Oh my gosh, she's getting me all and I said, yeah, I can hear you. I know you're all probably like panicking a little bit, but I want to give you something, like Barbara said, ground yourself and give yourself some grace. If you didn't get something done, this little tip, and then we'll go into probably a few more next week. Just give yourself some grace. Things happen in life. And I can tell you this because last month I went through a roller coaster of things, which was health challenges, and everything was stopped. I mean, everything. And at the beginning, I was a little bit upset because we're human and we want to get things done and we have stuff in order. But then it's what happens when things go out of whack. Do you just lose it? You got to make that decision. So I want people to say, if you have something that didn't work well, or you're still working on it, or you're trying to figure it out, or you maybe need to delegate, whatever the case may be, first of all, ground yourself, give you some grace, and say to yourself, you know what, this is okay. This is okay, because you want to learn. You want to go through the journey learning. You're trying to get to the destination of your goals, but while you're on the journey, you want to appreciate it. You want to have fun in it and not be all, stressed out. So, Barbara, I think we'll talk a little bit more about the midterm year, because it's here.
It's here.
And we want to, we want people to be happy as they're still going through things, saying, well, I didn't get none of that done. Okay. But what did you get done? Let's talk about victories here. Let's talk, so that's what I believe that, and I did a little 30-minute webinar on it a few days ago just telling people, it's okay. Because I was hearing a lot of the other thing, exactly. Yeah. So, but with that said, Barbara, where did you meet this wonderful, amazing queen who we're bringing today?
I met her through Rich Kozak. We were on a gratitude summit. We were on the Clarity Summit of Getting Clear. And I was like, I need to have this girl on the show. Plus, I'm going to brag on her for a minute before we bring her up. She's a violinist, world around. However, she's a conductor.
Wow!
And she has conducted for the royal family twice, for the orchestra, for the celebrations of the royal family. Of Queen Elizabeth's tribute, and also to the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton.
Oh my God, we have a celebrity.
And you know what? She's absolutely the sweetest gal you could ever imagine. So I'm so excited to have her here.
Oh wow, I am too. So let's give a sponsor some love, and then we'll bring on Queen Marcy. We'll be right back.
Good Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
And we are back. Woo-hoo, with the queen. So before we even start, if you're just coming in, this is the Time to Shine Happiness Show with the BBs, both Barbara Ellison and Barbara Beckley. And we're here with a wonderful, amazing celebrity guest, Marcy.
Hey, Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here this morning at the wee hours of the morning in California.
Oh, we got you up early. Oh, yeah. She said, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it doesn't seem like you're just, you're a ray of sun right now. So you can't even tell that, so more early.
To quote my mother-in-law, powder and paint make you what you ain't,
I like that. You're right. That's 100%. Well, see, I love her already.
Yeah. The first time we talked, it was like I had known Marcy forever. It was like we had such a great conversation, and even in the pre-show, we had a great conversation. And that's I love Marcy. So
yeah, it's nice when you meet somebody and right away their chemistry, you can feel the the love there and everything. When you meet people like that, I always tell people you should stay with those individuals because sometimes you don't find that a lot. So yeah, you really need to cherish that. So
it was pretty instantaneous. It was wonderful. Aww. And I look forward to as the relationship continues to grow, Barb.
Yeah.
And Barb.
I know we always get that. It's like we're both Barbers. Like, okay,
I want to be a Barbara too.
But Marcy, before we get to talking about the Joy Music and what you do so wonderful, can you give us a little background of how you got to this incredible what you do, and especially like royalty. Oh my God, that is amazing.
Well, I got to tell you, most recently, I got to conduct the concert in honor of the coronation of Their Majesties King Charles and Queen Camilla. So it's pretty fun stuff. Background wise, I wanted to play the piano, and we didn't have a piano when I was a little girl. And in school, they offered free violin lessons, and a neighbor had a violin. And my parents said, you know what, start here, and someday we'll save up and maybe we'll get a piano. Well, I just squeaked and squawked on that violin, and I knew good from bad, even at a young age. And I knew that what I was making wasn't good. One day I stomped my foot and I said, I don't want to do this. And my mom said, no problem. You can stop anytime you want. And then outside my door, in a quiet voice, I heard her say, I just didn't know I was raising a quitter. Oh, those were fighting words. And I yelled out, I'm not a quitter. She goes, well, then what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm going to practice and practice and practice. And I'm going to get really good. And when I get really good, I'll stop because I'll be on top and I will have accomplished my goal. She goes, okay. Oh, my mom was so smart, because you're never that good. And you're always practicing and you're always getting. And then all of a sudden, Mary Had a Little Lamb sounded like she actually had a little lamb. And A Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star sounded like, okay, the stars are starting to twinkle. I'm not hurting anybody's ears. And then it just kept progressing. And I fell in love. I always loved music, but I fell in love with the violin. Fast forward, I majored in music in college. I have my degree in performance and am successful as a violinist. 25 years ago, a colleague called me and said, do you have a youth orchestra that could perform in France? And I said, of course. I hung up the phone and called all my students and their parents and said, come on over for coffee and cake tonight, performing an orchestra. And this was supposed to be a one-shot, but something magical happened. These kids that I brought with me, these young musicians, most of them had only played maybe a year. So they were more cute than good. But in the course of our tour in France and in Monaco, they became an orchestra. And I watched their posture change. I watched their faces change. I watched and heard a difference. Well, from that point forth, we have had literally hundreds to thousands of kids come through our program. And we went from one orchestra to 5 orchestras. And we started touring, being invited. We played at the Sydney Opera House in Australia 3 times. We've been in Austria performing at the Musikverein, at the Salzburg Cathedral, at the Mirabel Gardens, at the university. We've been performed in Prague and in Germany and in Costa Rica and in England and in Wales. And taking these kids around the world had nothing to do with ego, had all to do with outgo. What can we give? And we changed the formatting of our programming immediately, which was, rather than just teaching music, which is in and of itself fabulous, but it's your parents gave you a gift by giving you the lessons. What are you going to do to use it? So we use all of our music to the benefit of others. So, Barbara, you had mentioned for the royal family performing in London, but that wasn't really the purpose. It was utilizing the moment to the first concert for the royal wedding, raising funds and awareness for the soup kitchen of London, where we raised thousands of dollars that fed the homeless. For the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, it went to healthcare worldwide for children. For the concert, we don't make any money doing this. We even pay our own way to make sure that this happens. When we played for the coronation, that was raising funds for children in the UK who are very talented and who wanted music lessons and instruments who couldn't otherwise afford it. When we played Costa Rica, it was a reforestation project, as well as playing for children who were profoundly deaf and having them hear music through vibration. This is what we do with our music: feed the homeless, clothe the poor, give of ourselves, play for people who can't otherwise get out and hear music. What this does to our young musicians as well as our professional musicians is it gives them a voice, empowers them to do good, and it serves humanity in the process. Because, you know, you talked about how technology is wonderful when it works.
Right.
Well, you know, we might be remembered for the technological advances that we have, but we're going to be treasured for the creativity, the music, and the gifts that we have given. That's the purpose of Musique sur la Mer, and that's my purpose.
Yes. Wow. Ooh.
See why I love this woman.
Yes. And you know what? I'm so grateful. I mean, so grateful that way back when you were younger, when she said, "Oh, I thought, you know, I didn't know you were going to be a quitter." Whoa, those were fighting words.
My mom was something special.
My mother was too. But you see how that's why I said words are powerful. And you just took that, because you could have took that the other way. I always tell people, you're talking about choices, right? Yeah. I mean, you could have took it the other way and said, you know what? Okay, well, fine, whatever. If you think I'm whatever, a quitter. But no, you were like, no, I'm not. I'm not no quitter. What? No. Are you? No. In your mind, you're like, no. That's not part of the deal.
Well, you know, there's such joy and creativity, and everybody has that spark of creativity. If we're saying we're built in the image of, what is that? What is the image? The image is creator. We were all born to create. Yes. And if we use that for the goodness and help of others, wow, the whole world changes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Marcy, in our first in one of the conversations that we talked about the changes that some of your special kids that have just absolutely, it's just changed their world.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a couple of those.
Well, it's interesting because for a lot of kids, everybody needs a voice. Some people use their voice. You have a platform right here that allows you to use your voice and use your creativity and thought to open other people up to their creativity. With children, many of them don't think they have that voice. Right. I've had wonderful children who could not afford music that we were able to get a sponsor who one in particular, who has gone on, is now becoming a major violinist, would not have had that choice. I've had children who have suffered trauma in their life and didn't know how to express it, and have gone from being in basically a fetal position when they're in a crowd and not wanting to speak to be presenters because they had that voice. They may not be able to express the emotion verbally and say, today I'm feeling sad. Well, one of the things that we do with the kids is tell me how you're feeling with music. Play something. It doesn't matter what, but play it in the mood that you're in. Oh, right. And then I can understand where they are and how to bring them forward. And they discover as they make the music in that voice, whether it's the sadness or the agitation or the joy that they're feeling, all of a sudden they're finding a way of communication. They're communicating with others. We've had students come through the program who this is my big brag moment on this one. I love,
go ahead,
because of all what these kids have accomplished. I can brag that 99% of the kids who've come through our program have gotten almost full or full rides to the university, college, or conservatory of their choice. And it's not just because of the music, it's because of what they've done with it. So our kids just performed with one of our former members who is not only a world-class violinist in South Indian music, but she's a pediatric neurologist. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. I have one of our former students is now in Africa working with AIDS patients, playing her cello in between while she's administering healthcare. She said, what's the heal of the soul as well?
Oh, that's so powerful.
It is very powerful, but this is what they're coming to their own conclusions, and they're finding their own power, and in the process finding their own joy and able to share that. So we're in our 25th year of Musique sur la Mer. This is amazing. 25 years ago, I had no idea it was going to continue going. And here we are 25 years later, still changing lives, still making music.
Oh, I just have to take a pause on that. It just filling my heart this morning. Oh, wow, Marcy. Queen.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes. Yes. I call all the lady queens. You're queen. You're there. So you got to put the crown on. You have to have the crown. I just want to say thank you so much, especially for the children. This is what I'm loving. I'm hearing because how, like you said, you don't know what they're going through. A lot of them trauma, like you said, everything like that. And to have you come in their lives just because of music, just to listen to them, just to hear them. Like you want to make sure you heard what they wanted to hear, not so much of you were thinking. And that's the biggest draw. Yeah.
Well, it fills my heart, but moreover, I'm just totally humbled by their growth. And if you were to hear this orchestra or these orchestras and close your eyes, you would never know they were children. You would never know that they are teenagers. They play magnificently. They find their own excellence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's the age range of the orchestra?
Right now, I have them from about age 17 to 18, elementary through high school. Occasionally, I have a few who hang on afterwards because they're going to college locally, and they become mentors. Our older kids work with our younger kids. Everybody's background checked. It's kind of gotten to be a rite of passage. You turned 18, so let's do a background check on you, even though I know you. But they discover their adulthood.
Yes.
They adult earlier, but they live their childhood. They have the innocence and openness, and even as adults, it continues.
Yeah.
Every day is a day of discovery.
And I was just thinking, Marcy, with that, you're creating wonderful leaders as well. I mean, like you said, they get to a certain age, 18, and now they're mentors to the younger ones, and they're learning leadership at the same time of their lives, so young and just starting off early. That's a good thing,
Everybody finds their path, hopefully. Hopefully some find it later, but for many, music is the vehicle to get them there. So we'll usually say music is the path and Musique sur la Mer is the vehicle to get them there. It's finding that inner voice and finding that passion. And occasionally we have kids who say, I love making music, but this is not my thing. I said, cool, what's your thing? Let's go find it. But this is part of the discipline that they're learning because they learn to practice. They learn to say, okay, this is where I am right now, and this is what I'll be at the end of the day, and this is what I'll be at the end of the week, and this is where I'm going. They learn goal setting. They learn how to be responsible for their actions. That if something didn't go well, we do a little thing at the beginning of the year where they all get a little 3x5 card. And it's what are you going to tell yourself when you hit a note that doesn't belong in that piece of music? Don't say it's a wrong note. I said, you did not say anything negative about it. How are you going to correct yourself? So it might be, I love the answers I've gotten going, well, that was interesting. I bet Bach wished he did that. But I think I'll play what's on the page instead. You do that. I said, because we are really good at self-talking negative to ourselves. We're great at it. But how do we do it in such a constructive way that we continue to grow without diminishing that spirit inside ourselves? And
Yes.
that's part of it. And that's how they become great leaders.
Yeah.
I'm in contact with these many, many kids over the 25 years who are now adults. And now I've got their children in the orchestra. And I don't feel old at all.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's amazing.
oh yeah. The kids that I knew at 5 and 6 are now have children that are 5 and 6, and I'm like, oh. I keep telling my grandchildren I'm too young to have all these grandchildren that are driving and jobs and having babies, and I'm like, I'm too young to have you.
Yeah, especially great grandchildren. You got grandchildren and great grandchildren. That's when you're like, oh, okay. I'm old.
So funny. I was doing an interview with for a commercial, and they're never supposed to ask you your age. But I came in there and he said, "And how old are you?" Because it was for a commercial, they needed somebody older, and I said, 28, and I just started laughing because that was the first thing out of my mouth, and then started going, in dog years.
Yeah.
I was just laughing. I said, that's so funny. You asked me, I said, I didn't mean to lie. I said, it was just that in my head, that's where I am.
Well, you are, yeah.
So
it's all about that attitude, like you said. It's like, hey.
That's like with me, one of the things that I say lots of times is, well, I'm selling, your birthday. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm celebrating the 24th anniversary of my 50th birthday.
Yes. Oh, I tried that with my students when I became 70. I said, oh, it's the second anniversary of my 35th birthday. They go, oh, you're 70? I'm going,
wow.
I said, oh, yeah, you did your math. Thanks. It's just a number.
You can say that, Marcy. Check, you did your math.
Yeah, exactly. Good job.
Good job.
Let's move on.
But I truly believe it's for such a time as this that we're here.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we're a nonprofit organization. We are supported by the public. We are supported by the generosity of the public, and by grants that we have received by those who have great faith in what we're doing and the impact that we have. And I look at our impact as being something that is not just for the next generation, but for many generations to come. Because the lessons that are being taught to both our professional and our student musicians get passed on to the next generation and the next and the next. We're creating a world community of kindness, of listening, of understanding, of being open to change, and being available to each other. That's, in essence, its purpose.
Yeah, and one of the things that struck me too is that giving them international exposure to other cultures.
Yeah.
The best education in the world.
Huge.
That's huge. I'm glad you mentioned that, Barbara. You're right.
Well,
huge.
First off, travel is probably the best education anybody could have. We started doing the travel specifically because when I was younger, in my formative years as a middle school and high schooler, and even college, because back in college, 21 was legal age, not 18. But I was not allowed to travel. I was given the opportunities, but my parents kept me very close. They were very protective. And I knew what was missing. And what's interesting is when we visit other cultures, we don't just go and play. As I mentioned, the works that we do when we get there, but it's also, they do language immersion, cultural understanding. They learn about the art, the literature, the architecture of the country. They learn the statistics about the country. And what's so fascinating is they learn that, you know what, doesn't matter where you go. Everybody actually wants the same thing: roof over their head, food in their belly, love of family, extended family and friends. They want to feel safe, and they want to be embraced. They want good health care. Everybody has those basic needs. And so they learn that we're more alike than different. Result is, thank goodness for the internet and Zoom and all of this stuff, because they don't see the world as very large.
Mhm.
They see it very as just this tiny little speck that they're all a part of, and the hands are reaching all the way around. It's pretty wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that up, Barbara. You're right, Marcy, about the cultural part of it and getting to know others in different, globally at an early age. Yeah. When I was growing up, I didn't really get to that point, like you said, until a little later in life, in my 20s and stuff, because like you said, my parents, they were, like, no, you're not gonna go there, you're not gonna, but I'm glad that they're learning it at an earlier age, to get to really respect it and this acknowledge that for the global part of it.
One of my favorite parts was the music Verein, the Golden Hall, for musicians, the Holy of Holy Halls in Vienna. Absolutely exquisite. This is where the Vienna Philharmonic plays. This is where Mahler had his concerts. This is where Leonard Bernstein conducted. I mean, oh my gosh, my hero. And a 7-year-old, a sibling of one of the kids in the orchestra, grabs my hand when we walked in and says, how can I have lived this long and not known about this place?
Oh.
7. But I realized they walked in and they realized this is special. Yeah. This is special.
They realize that. I'm still okay. I'm comprehending 7 years old.
I know. That's the same 7-year-old who asked me an amazing question once, and that was, I thought, was probably one of the most profound questions I've ever received from a child, which is music a skill or a talent?
Ooh, that is profound.
Mm-hmm. And I said, I believe that everybody has talent, but my job as the teacher is to teach you the skills so that the talent can shine through. Ooh. You could be incredibly talented. I said, but no one would know unless you had the skill set to go along with it. I said, and that applies to everything that you do.
Yes.
I said, you can be incredibly smart, but if you don't educate yourself, if you're not open to learning, no one will know. Mm-hmm. I said, so just be open and grab onto those gifts, grab onto those skill sets, and that talent will shine through.
Right. That's one of the things Barbara and I talk about, because we both want visibility for people. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I will say to people cannot, I mean, we all have bills to pay, whether it's nonprofit or whatever, we all have bills to pay. So somebody cannot buy your services or your products if they don't know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Absolutely.
And that's what this show is about. We want to highlight the people that are doing stuff. So now somebody might be listening who has a child that, they love music, but don't have an outlet for it. Well, reach out to Marcy.
Yes.
See what can be done.
It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. I love the teenagers.
Yeah.
Where they're not adults and they're not children.
They're in that middle, yeah.
They're in that little amoeba phase of their life, and it's humbling to get to be a part of that and watch who they become.
Right. Yes. The tween. I think they call them tweens. The tweens.
Yes, tweens.
Tweens. I like that. Yeah. And just to see them when they light up, you could just tell. We always love that. We always say when we see a person, you could tell when the light bulb just like hit, and they're like,
when it lands on them, and they light up.
And they're like, oh. Wow, that light bulb just comes on. When it just puts a big smile on my face, because it's like, whoa, there's something there. They just got it.
They got it.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting. By the way, I do want to highlight our websites as well, because they can contact me directly through the website as well, which is the obvious www.mslmorchestra.org. mslmorchestra.org. They can learn more about each of the orchestras that are there, the schedule, upcoming concerts. It's all right there for them.
Wow. Well, Queen Marcy, thank you so much for coming. And now you're family, so we can, welcome you back at any time. We would love to have you back on the show and just discuss about the joy of music or anything that's going on, in your world. So we want to make sure, like you said, we're with the visibility. So we want to make sure that you are getting the love. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the service that you're providing and giving voice to not only our organization, but to all the many people out there who are doing good works and spreading joy. I appreciate you both very much, both of queens.
It's been fun. You got it. You got it. I'm proud of you. I knew you would catch on. Well, with that said, Barbara, you have to do your last thought for us today.
Exactly. So, this is the Time to Shine Happiness show. So let's make happiness the norm rather than the exception, because each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant life. And we can all do it by working together. So let's do it together and raise up the children in the way that they should go. So let's start. So thank you, Marcy, for all you're doing for the kids. They're the next generation of leaders.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see everybody next Wednesday with the wonderful guest. Keep that smile going. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, everybody.